Hi, this is Ben from 561 Music Podcast. Right now, we're trying to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. It just helps us get out there more. It also enables us to monetize the podcast, to make it better, do more advertising for it and things like that. Subscribe to the podcast and hit the notifications button. That would be doing us a really big favor. Thank you very much. Welcome to 561 Music. My name's Ben. Oh, there's no Hector. I guess Hector isn't here for some reason, which is a little awkward, but it's okay. We'll struggle on without him. So what Hector and I would usually do in this situation is we talk about what we were doing over the previous weekend. And what we were doing is we had a real Irish pubs kind of a weekend. It was a blast. We played it. Not that we don't always play in Irish pubs, but it was a particularly strong one this weekend. We played at O'Shea's on Friday night, and that's always fun. Always gets rowdy in there. It's a bonkers place. And then James and I played at the Square Grouper in the afternoon, and then we played at Carson's Tavern in the evening of Saturday. And Carson's Tavern is a cool place. I actually got the gig there years ago because I met Carson in O'Shea's. I was rip-roaringly drunk and just talking to everyone. And I guess somehow I managed to... he liked me. I think he was pretty drunk too. And he gave us a gig up at Carson's. So we've been playing there for a really long time, maybe over a decade. So we had a good time there on Saturday. And then on Monday, we played in Winter Park at like a Christmas Works do, which was great because... we were kind of the background music, but the thing I like about those gigs is you get to try out all sorts of new stuff and you get to sort of solo and use kind of techniques that you don't usually use. And you know, even though you're not the main attraction, it's, I don't know, I kind of like it. And I start to feel a little bit like musicians have been playing in that setting for like thousands of years, you know, and I don't know, I get a little bit nostalgic about the idea that I'm carrying on a grand tradition of you know, the bard in the corner of the room. Anyway, that's what I tell myself to get myself through not being the center of attention. But anyway, we have Joey Calderaio with us today. How's it going, man?
What's up, man? It's good to see you. Thanks for having me here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Absolutely. So you were on before, weren't you? It was probably over a year ago now.
Yeah. Probably about 2 years or something like that.
Yeah. And since then, you've been going from strength to strength. It's been going super well for you.
Thanks, man.
And you just brought out an album, Chasing Constellations, isn't it?
Yep, November 4th.
Yeah,
so
cool.
It's been just over a month.
Yeah, man. So how has that been received? People been enjoying it? I mean, I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, it's been awesome. You know, spent a lot of time, many years working on it, and it just feels great to finally have it out, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Finally play some of these songs live, and yeah, it feels really good. There's been a good response. I believe it went up to number 6 on iTunes on the night that it dropped.
That's amazing.
So yeah, it's been getting some good attention, you know.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and it's well deserved as well. Your sound is so polished and the songs are well written, so it doesn't surprise me.
Appreciate that.
You know, and I feel like, you know, you're really part of this sort of generation below me kind of new to sort of reggae sort of movement that's happening in Florida.
Right.
It's cool. It's cool to watch.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, so why don't we get into the album and talk about it a little bit? How many tracks does it have on it?
Technically 15. They're not all songs. There's an intro that's about a minute long, and that's featuring Alan Watts.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. There's an interlude, and then there's a ballad as the very last song.
Gotcha.
So, 15 tracks total.
Is there any kind of grand unifying theme to the album, would you
Definitely
say?
the whole space theme, even kind of like a night theme as well. And that kind of started off because, well, it started off with the song Chasing Constellations, which was actually, I started writing that in 2016. And that was kind of my personal like anthem, I guess, as I was writing it, and the song has to do with getting older and leaving my parents' house for the first time, and because I never went away to college, and starting to think for myself, I guess, a little bit more, and so that song sort of has to do with letting go of people's voices in my head, maybe, or just
allowing yourself to be yourself, kind of thing.
Exactly. And so, basically, with that song, I'm saying like my mind's been through the constellations. I've just I'm gonna go through space and just kind of figure it out.
Yeah, nice.
If that
makes
any sense.
I think when I heard the name, that I didn't realize that there was this extra layer to it, because chasing constellations, it could just be about like, chasing the stars, trying to get famous,
Sure.
And
that's a good point.
I'm sure there is somewhere in there like a bit of a layer of that.
Right.
But the fact that it's not just that is very heartening to me.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, on the song, on the album, which ones would you say are the singles? Is Chasing Constellations one
I never released that one as a single. I think that was one of my favorites off the album, so I wanted that to be like, and it's also the second track off the album, so I wanted that to be like one that kind of draws everybody in.
Okay.
So that's part of the reason why I didn't release that as a single, but yeah. Runaway Lover, Wave of Life, Lonely Night. There was about 4 or 5 singles before the album release, and that was mostly to build up. I'm having a hard time thinking of words.
It's fine, don't worry about it. Yeah, I know what you mean. Just to build up hype.
Yeah, hype it up a little bit for the album drop, and it helps a lot,
No, that's it. And because I know that is at this point a tried and true way of doing it. In that, you release songs until you've basically got enough to release an album, and then you just put them together and you release that as an album.
Yeah,
I think that in the days of very short attention spans and people not really being able to concentrate on anything for more than 5 seconds, it makes sense to bring out a song.
Exactly.
Like that. I was just talking to the guys who in the Moon Men, and I don't know if they're going to go with that, because it was just me, and my opinions, but I was saying, why don't you just release a song at a time until you've got enough to have until it's an album's worth of songs, and then just release album.
I
think maybe probably a little bit more of a sophisticated way of doing that is to release 2 or 3 at a time. So you release the single, and then you got like the B-side.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Have you done any video work for the album?
Music videos?
Yeah.
Not really. I thought about it, and I'm talking to somebody about potentially doing a few, but I haven't yet.
Okay.
I did the Paradise music video. That was last year. That was with Sierra Lane.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, so I've thought about releasing another one, and I would like to. They're just very time consuming.
They are, and they can get expensive.
They can get very expensive, yeah.
But I tell you what, with that whole sort of spacesuit sort of space theme that you have.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
It's just like crying out for, just some green screen action,
Sure.
You bobbing around in a spacesuit. It'd be so cool.
Yeah, it'd be sick.
And on the subject of this spacesuit, where on earth did that thing come from? How did you get this incredible shiny spacesuit? I think Justin's got a picture of it, actually. There it is.
There we go.
Look at that handsome gentleman that you can't see because he's in a spacesuit. Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
So my friend Kaylee, Kaylee Marie Photography, she reached out to me saying that she wanted to do some photos that had to do with the new album that were space themed, and she had this idea of, why don't we go to the beach with a astronaut costume and do some photos in the water and in the sand, and I thought that was a great idea. So looked on Amazon, got the suit for like $40. The helmet was like $20.
That's amazing.
So yeah, it looks pretty legit, right? It's,
it does. When we were, me and a couple of my friends were all commenting on there, just being like, "Where'd you get that thing? Because it looks legit."
It
man.
does.
It
does. It looks like NASA sent it to me.
So you don't have an astronaut in the family then?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, nothing like that. It's just a $40 suit off Amazon.
That's wonderful. Well, she did a very good job with the pictures.
Yeah,
then.
she did. She killed it.
So, I don't want this to turn into sort of like poetry corner or anything, but I am curious about some of your lyrical choices on the album.
Sure.
I'd love for you to tell me about. Are there any standout songs that mean a lot to you on the album?
Yeah, definitely Chasing Constellations
Yeah.
for the reasons that I explained previously. And another one is Call on Me, and that song is about dealing with depression and more specifically, I think, to my brother in particular. And that was a hard song for me to write, but it had to do with a subject that was very much on my mind.
Yeah.
And so it was difficult writing that song, but I felt like I had to, and I wanted to. So that was kind of something for him.
Nice.
Let's see.
I really feel like songs can almost exercise demons,
Absolutely.
There's this one song
Right.
that I wrote called Propane Tank, which is kind of a literal description of like a traumatic event that happened to me, where I was in a kitchen and a propane tank fell into the fat fryer and exploded.
Holy shit.
And
Oh my God.
a pregnant woman was thrown across the room, and she didn't lose the baby, thank God.
Oh my God.
One of the guy's faces was like basically burnt clean off.
Dude, that's insane.
And I just had it in the back of my head for years and years and years, and then I wrote this song about it.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I wrote this song about it, and then I sung it in a bunch of places, and it did me a lot of good because it wasn't like hiding away, festering in there anymore.
Yeah,
it was just
absolutely.
out there for everyone to hear about.
Right. Yeah, it's like therapy in a sense, getting it out on paper and
it is
and recording it. So.
And therapists often say, if you're an artist, oh, will you paint me that feeling, or if you're a musician, will you write a song about that? So I don't know if you've ever been to therapy, but there's that they're always asking me like write a song about it.
I have, but no one has ever given me that advice. But yeah. Kind of wish they had.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I've been asked like a couple of times now, but once with a therapist I have, and then one time in group, and a bunch of times in group therapy actually.
Right.
Yeah, over the years I've had a reasonable amount of therapy, and I feel like I'm the better for it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think therapy, everybody should do therapy no matter what mental state or whatever that you're in, just because it can be an amazing tool for just developing good habits,
Yeah.
I've been doing it, I think, for about 7 years now. And just,
right on.
It even during times when I'm feeling better, that's when I think it can sometimes be the most helpful, because then you develop tools for when you're not feeling so good.
Yeah.
And so I just think I'm a big proponent. Is that
That's
the word?
it. You got it. Yeah.
Big proponent of therapy.
I know. I always second guess myself on the word proponent.
Yeah.
It's like, how can that be? Yeah. So, could you tell us a little bit about some of the other songs on there and
Sure.
your lyrical decisions?
Yeah. So another tune is "You Take Me So High." That is a love song that goes out to Hope, my girlfriend, and that song was about our third date. Sneaking into a beach resort and
Nice.
drinking too much wine and kind of dancing on the beach and throwing her into the ocean.
Was it the beach resort? Was it Jupiter?
Jupiter
Beach?
yeah. Please don't sue me.
I got married there.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Years ago.
You were wondering who those kids were that were causing a ruckus. That was us.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, so that was another special tune to me. Wave of Life was really cool because that is a song about triumph, mental triumph.
Yeah.
And my good, I guess at this point I can call him friend, Howie Spangler from the band Ballyhoo. He's a musician I've looked up to for many years.
Yeah.
He was featured on that song, so that was very special to me.
Oh yeah, I bet. That's awesome. It really feels amazing when you get those kind of when you have someone who you've just always thought is awesome, even acknowledge what you're doing.
Sure, absolutely.
Like I sent our album to Frank Turner, who I've always just looked up to, just because I think he's such a good songwriter. Gets back to me, he's like, "Yeah, going to listen to it and everything."
Awesome.
I'm still awaiting his review, but he did say I'd listen to it. So.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Yeah, man, I love all of that stuff. I got to meet a lot of people who meant a lot to me through the years as well, you know, and it's cool. Every now and again, you're like, "Oh no, that's what you like." But in general, it's
absolutely.
a positive experience.
Yep.
What else is there? Let's talk about one more of the songs.
Sure.
I'm really digging through you.
Yep. I think the interlude, oddly enough, was just a really fun song because, well, it started off as an instrumental, and it's completely different than any other song off the album. It's just like an all-out weird jam. I don't even know how to define it. I had to define the genre, but I guess it's just kind of experimental funk dance jammy. I don't know, but yeah, that was just kind of a fun one to throw in there because sometimes when it comes to songwriting, I feel like there's such a format, like first chorus, solo, chorus, and like, you know, sometimes I confine myself to that for the sake of it getting more plays or streams or whatever, whereas this song was just like me just jamming out and having fun. So and that one's called Lost in Space, in quotations, interlude. So that's why I had a lot of fun on that one.
That's rad. And over a 15-track record, you got to experiment a little bit because otherwise it just sounds like the same. So I think that was a great idea. And I generally when I've written albums, I have written or been involved in writing completely concept albums, but in general they just have like an overarching theme. Right. Like I feel like the new Killbillies album, Back to Basics, almost all of my lyrics are about the years after I got sober, the 3 years after I got sober and just my personal development. Not every song is about that, but it's infused with that. Right.
Cool. How many years has it been now?
3. It's going to be 3
in
like a week.
When you said that, I wasn't sure if you meant like you were writing it based off of just those 3 years.
Oh, yeah, basically. Okay. Yeah, basically just those 3 years. It's just been my experience since then. There's a couple of songs on there that I wrote prior to getting sober, but one of them is literally about recovery already anyway. And and the other one is unrelated. It's the last song on the album, and it's about moving to America.
Gotcha.
But I think this kind of concept of transition and recovery is just across the whole thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, I can't wait to take a deeper dive into the album, knowing that information.
I'll give you a. Have you got a CD player?
I don't. So unfortunately I don't, and I sell my own CDs, and I don't have a CD player.
I know, right? Yeah, we're getting some vinyls printed as we speak. It's the same, man. I don't have a CD player either. Exactly. I'm hawking these CDs. I'm like, you want one of these? I don't know how you're going to play it.
Yep.
Well, some people have them in their car, though. Yeah. Yeah. And I used to have one in my car, but no longer.
And I still find that it's like a nice, like, piece of merch to have, to have like signed by a band or whatever. It's a cool like physical thing to hold on to.
It is, and that's something that I really miss. I mean, the whole music becoming digital and streaming conversation has been done to death, but there is something nice about having it in your hands.
Sure.
Because the big, especially with an LP, with a big, nice vinyl LP, because there's so much art and everything. It's I believe in my business studies class they called it a fetishized consumer product or something like that because you desire it.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's another thing about the digital age of music is like there's less emphasis. I feel like on the artwork, whereas I don't know, 20, 30 years ago and before that it was I feel like the artwork was a big deal.
Yeah, it was very important. Sure. But I suppose the way that's changed is that we're all constantly, we have to put new content up almost every day online. Right. So it's not like there's not a bazillion images of the.
Sure, that's a good point. Yeah, art's just being consumed in a different way, I guess.
Yeah. So. Exactly. When it comes to your social media, is it you who does it all? So I have been an avid kind of student of your progress as you've got bigger, and I've always been very impressed with the professionalism in your social media, and the thing that I just think is so important, which is that every day there's something new, every couple of days there's something new. It's the consistency, you know, that the consistency is something that we used to aspire to. Now we are doing it because we have Danielle who helps us with our social media, and she's, she sets it up for the week, and it's, and so it's consistent like that. But yeah, you do a great job of it. Do you use any kind of social media like
planner?
Yeah.
I don't really. I've tried it. It just didn't really work out for me.
Yeah.
In my good weeks, what I do is spend one day where I just recorded a bunch of different content and then save it on my phone and have it ready for to post the next couple days, because I'm always trying to get the most out of the algorithm, and if I can post every single day, then that's ideal.
Yeah.
But there's definitely days where I'm maybe running low on content, and I'll just kind of share an old photo or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I try to stay consistent with it because, it's just people consume media so quickly now, and I look at it as a job. It's like like I said, I try to take one day out of the week to really just bang out a bunch of content and then save some of that stuff for future posts. I try to switch it up between doing like a cover video where I'm, covering a song and make a video of myself doing that.
Yeah. How long does that take you when you put those together?
Say about like 6 to 8 hours.
Okay, so
sometimes
it's like
less.
the better part of a day kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It can be quite time
I'm
consuming.
trying to think how long it would take me, and it'll probably take me about that long. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Are you doing it in Logic?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I think they're taking less now that I'm doing the reels instead of the full song, because I used to do the entire song, and whether it also depended whether or not I already knew the song.
Yeah.
Because if I'm learning something from scratch, I got to learn the bass line, all the chords, the lyrics, everything.
Are you trying to faithfully do it? So you learn like the exact bass line and stuff?
I was before, and then now I'm kind of letting a little bit more loose, and I think putting a little bit more of my own style on it, which I think people appreciate.
Yeah,
because,
exactly.
It doesn't have to be exactly like the recording.
No, and if you're trying to make it exactly like the recording, you've got to make it exactly like the recording.
Right.
But if you're doing it more like yourself, then it's like, well, who's to say what that is?
Yeah. And that's a good point too, because like I'm not a bass player. I can play a little bit of bass, but I play bass on my recordings, but I don't call myself like a bass player. I think I might disappoint some people or drummers or whatever, when I'm playing the cajon, because I'm not playing exactly like the recording. So I've started chilling out a little bit with some of the cover videos, and only doing like a minute section of a song rather than the entire 3 or 4 minutes.
Do you whack those up on TikTok as well?
Yeah, I post them up. I think my main platform right now is Instagram.
Right.
Instagram and Facebook. And then I just happen to be doing TikTok because I know that it's, trending or whatever, but I'm not like an avid TikTok user. I just any one of my posts that I make to Instagram and Facebook, I also just share on TikTok.
Gotcha. And those things where you where the kind of reply videos, or like the ones where you kind of sing a verse, like in the is that all on TikTok stuff, or do you do that on Instagram as well?
Instagram as well.
Right. Okay. That's pretty neat. Have you had good feedback from that kind of stuff?
I think so. Yeah, actually, those types of videos where you like open verse challenge and you do your own verse, those are some of the best types of videos to post, because it not only shares on your page but also on theirs. Right. And it just, every time I've done one of those, it's gotten me so many new listeners.
Interesting.
And it's great how that can get your music out.
Yeah. It's a good idea. It's a really good idea. I don't know why we don't do them. Yeah, we need to get around to that one. So you got that sort of corner of your studio there where you got like the neon light and everything too. It looks real nice.
Yeah,
Is that just like you just fixed it up so that you can sit there, you know,
Right.
it looks nice. And
Right,
it's just,
right.
Yeah.
If you saw the rest of my bedroom, you wouldn't be thinking that. But yeah, there's just like one little corner, where we got my small desk, a couple monitor speakers, and that neon light with my logo on it. I try to make it look presentable, and then I have a tripod stand holding my iPhone, and a little ring light that goes around it too. So, try to make it look as professional as I can.
Yeah,
But
it works,
people would be
man.
surprised with how much they could do just at home with just an iPhone and some tools.
Yeah, for real. No doubt about
So-
it. Every now and again, when I'm thinking of doing something like that, and I think, but I haven't got this stuff. That's rubbish. You could just use your phone.
Right. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And these cameras are getting so good.
Yeah, absolutely. So, talking of recording stuff, did you record your album yourself?
I did record it myself, from home, and then
yeah.
sent it off to a producer to mix and master and all that.
Okay, who was that?
That was Big G out of California.
Okay.
I found him because I was listening to one of my favorite bands, Ayatera,
Yeah.
and they're just a really cool reggae rock band. And I was listening to their album called Coming to Light, and I just loved the mix of every single one of their songs on that album. And so I looked up, or I think I reached out to them personally and said, hey, big fan of your album. Just curious, who mixed and mastered it. And they said Big G.
Did he mix it and master it then? So that he's kind of the full package kind of thing?
Yep. So I reached out to him over Instagram, and he said, hey, I'm down. Can you work on these songs? He said, sure. So we kind of went through there, and now he does a lot of my songs now. We've become good friends ever since.
Nice.
But yeah, he's just so incredibly talented at what he does, and I think I made the right choice.
Yeah,
working
well, it
with
sounds
him.
great.
So,
Yeah. And I think that I mixed the most recent with some help, admittedly. Pretty much all of my friends got to tell me what they thought of it. But
Right.
I mixed the Killbillies one, and I for this time I really wanted to do it because mixing a full length album of like my own music was something I'd always wanted to do.
Right.
And get right.
Sure.
But I think in general, it does help to have a different set of ears because
Right.
when it's you start to not be able to see the wood for the trees.
Yep.
You start listening to things that don't matter.
Right.
You start missing things that are like a big
Absolutely.
problem.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So-
I respect you for doing that. Personally, I don't think I ever could. I always listen back on my own mixes and think, I like it, and then I, go away for an hour, come back to it, and like find so many things I hate. And
You know what it's like? It's like it's like if you put a patio in your backyard and you did it yourself,
Right.
you'd only be able to see the bits
Yep.
where you messed it up.
Sure.
But if someone else did it, you'd never even know they were
Right,
there. You don't
right,
notice
right.
it.
Yeah, that's
It's
a good
kind of
point.
like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you know the inner workings of it so well, you're listening out for the problems, you know,
Right.
instead of having a better
Sure.
overview of it. Yeah, man. No, it does sound great. And you're using Logic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, what kind of interface do you have?
I think just a basic like Behringer 8-channel interface. I usually don't even use all 8 channels. I'm usually only using one at a time.
Yeah,
but
sure.
it was a cheap interface I found on Amazon. I go through it's called the Bluebird condenser microphone.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
So I'm recording all my vocals and guitar with that, and with the bass, I'm just playing like a Squier classic 70 classic vibe Squier, I think it's called, and just recording direct in. The drummers, they're all session drummers I've found on the internet.
Oh yeah, tell us a little bit about that. I'm curious about that. How did you?
Yeah.
Firstly, is there a website that you go to?
Fiverr. I use Fiverr for so much.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know Ryan was asking me about that.
Right.
Brian Wiedenfeld, who
I know the name.
played for like Be Liminal and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
anyway, so he played for Box Elder.
Sure.
And then the Bryce Allen Band.
Gotcha.
But anyway, he works here, and he was asking me, where can I go to sign up, as a session drummer? So
Right.
Fiverr, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I use Fiverr for a lot.
Do you ever try and write like library music type stuff? Have you ever tried to go down that path?
like jingles kind of thing?
Jingles and like add music for commercials and stuff. Have you ever done any of that?
I have a couple times. Yep.
Yeah, I've been trying to do that lately, and there's all these websites. I actually
Right.
I have a buddy Ollie who's kind of taking care of that side of it, and he just goes, do this, and he'll send me the whatever the blueprint for what's got to be.
Sure.
And I sit at home and I make it and I send it to him.
Right.
But yeah, it's been quite fun actually.
That's
It's definitely kept me on my toes with my studio skills.
Yeah. I've tried making like profiles on a couple websites for that, but haven't gotten any bites. I don't know.
So something that I'm trying to do at the moment, something that I am doing at the moment is I'm trying to get a couple of the songs on our album on as many playlists and get as promoted as good as possible. How are you going about that with your album?
Yeah, there's a website called SubmitHub.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you're familiar with that. Pay a couple bucks to get some credits, and you use those credits to submit to different Spotify playlists or whatever. And I'm going to give a little secret to everybody out there. But one day I was like thinking, how could I get on more Spotify playlists that not everyone has like thought like a way that not everybody has thought of. And so I went on to Spotify, looked up some playlists of user-created playlists, not Spotify-created playlists.
Right.
So user-created playlists that were kind of similar to my music. Clicked on the profile, found the name, and searched them on Facebook, and would message them personally and just say, hey, big fan of your playlist. By any chance, would you be willing to add my songs onto your Spotify playlists? And some of them would not get back to me, and that's, and then there would be a handful that would, and so I would send them some free merch or something to say thank you, and kind of create relationships by doing that. And
that's a good idea.
So yeah, it's helped a lot. It's helped get a lot of plays on Spotify.
Have you been on Miso Soup? You know about that one?
No.
So I've been going on there, and I've actually got on quite a few playlists from that. And it's a similar thing to SubmitHub, except the difference with this is it's like you create this whole online profile complete with EPK and everything, and then people who like it, they sort of come to you with an offer, and so it's like they'll be like, well, we can do this and this and this for like $10, or we can do this and this for free,
right.
And a lot of the times the free thing is to get on the playlist. So I've just been going, yep, thank you very much,
right,
on the playlist.
And that's how MUSO soup?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And so that's been the thing that I've had the most luck with. People on SubmitHub aren't big Killbillies fans, as far as I can tell. We got a couple of things from there, but
it's kind of a hit or miss. Right. Oh, there's so much of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's brutal. And I asked them to be, because you can pick how
right.
I asked them to be brutal.
Yeah.
I don't know why I asked that. I wish I hadn't.
I do every single time too. It always hurts my ego a little bit. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I don't know, maybe it's good for me in the long run. So something we always enjoy asking on here, and we almost definitely asked you the first time, but I'm going to ask you again, is when it comes to your instrument, do you still practice? Like, are you there playing scales and stuff like that?
Not. I think I have the same answer as last time. Not nearly as I should be. I sit in my room a couple hours each week. Just strumming along, and but as far as practicing scales, I really don't do.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think like a huge amount of people are doing that.
Right.
Like who are playing 4 times. How often are you playing now?
Yeah, 4 to 5 times a week, probably.
Yeah.
But
there are
you know,
some people who are super devout,
Yeah.
and they practice on their days
right.
off.
All the musicians I currently play with in my band are they're avid practicers, you know.
Yeah.
But
I try and do it before I go in, but I come into work like a little bit early, and I sit down and I practice then.
right,
And because the good thing about being a music teacher in an institution of some kind is that you have a practice room.
right.
And it's like once
Sure.
you're sitting in a practice, I also practice if a kid doesn't show up. Not every time. Sometimes
Right.
I need like to get some fresh air or something.
Uh-huh.
But half the time I'll sit there and just practice then too.
Right.
So practicing
That's
is
cool.
almost built into being a music teacher. you
Sure.
know?
Yeah.
And, yeah, and I guess like people like, well, I know that Burgess is big up Burgess. I know that he's like an insanely good keyboard player.
He's a monster.
And does he practice a lot?
I'm sure he does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
think
have to
so. I
ask
think he
him.
practices about every night.
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, what a beast. I've known him since he was, I don't know, 16, 17, because he was at School of Rock for a second there when I was working there. And he's always been amazing at the keys.
For people who don't know who Burgess is, that's Alex Burgess, our keyboard player. He's been playing with me for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, he's just a fantastic musician, you know, such a creative mind too.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah.
How old are you now?
27.
Gotcha. Yeah, wow. So you've been playing with him for a long time, huh?
Yep.
So since you were last on the show, you've played a few big gigs, haven't you? You've done Reggae Rise Up and you've done Sumfest. Could you tell us a little bit about what it was like to play those shows?
Yeah, it was wild. You know, I haven't been too used to playing on a big stage like that before. You know, if I ever did before that, it was for, you know, maybe some city events, but something like Reggae Rise Up was really cool because there was people. A lot of those people were there to hear my songs, which was just mind blowing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know,
isn't that a good
along.
feeling?
It's such a great feeling.
Yeah, I remember one time I played a big gig and I forgot the words halfway through, and I looked down and someone was mouthing them straight back at me, and I was like, "Oh, thank God," because I was so scared I forgot the words.
Right.
Yeah, like that, and that is just one of the best feelings ever when you see people singing your words in front of you like that. It's wild.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was an incredible feeling that, you know, I want to just continue chasing, continue working hard and spreading the music out there.
Yeah, man.
It's just been such a wild ride, a lot of fun, you know.
In terms of your sort of career trajectory, is something that you want to do, like be on a record label? Is that sort of where you feel like you're?
If it's
is that
the right
what you
one,
want? Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's when people ask me that, it's hard for me to look like even 3 years into the future, you know.
Yeah.
I could probably only look about 6 months to a year in the future and just say, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to create, and just making a goal of doing that.
Even looking a year into the future is pretty impressive, honestly. We had Ricky Balouf, Ricky Bobby, or Ricky from the Shake on last week, and he literally put his year plan on the screen and had it just laid out like that.
That's cool.
That guy's a machine. He's so organized. It's amazing. And I know he's probably listening to this too. So hey, Ricky, what's up?
What's up, Ricky? Yeah, man, he's a hustler.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. And it's something that I personally need to get a lot better at. You know, I tend to just sort of be thinking about the next couple of days, and that's about it.
No, I mean, you've got a lot on your plate. You're doing the podcast, playing gigs a lot, you know, teaching. You have a lot. So.
Oh, totally, yeah. I think sometimes it's difficult to see the wood for the trees, and it definitely is good to plan a little bit. So something I'm going to try and do before the end of the year. There will be a 2023 Killbillies plan.
Sweet.
I've decided.
There you go.
I've got this inspiration from Ricky last week.
How do you do with like work-life balance with all that you have going on?
That's a good question, and one which is answered by life.
Yeah, right.
No, I just spend my entire time playing music, and then if I'm not doing that, Christy and I, when Christy's not working, because Christy works a huge amount too.
Gotcha.
You know, but it's always nice when we catch each other at the right time and we get to take a minute to relax. But there's a lot of working goes on. You know, the thing is, most mornings I'm not working. I'm slowly but surely filling in the odd morning here and there.
Right.
But it's mostly like from 2-ish to late.
Right.
Every day, but I mean that's 7 days a week pretty much. But almost all my mornings are free. So I use my if I remember to get up in time.
Sure.
I use my mornings for stuff, and
and
that's a nice time for Christy and I to do all the domestic things.
That's cool.
Yeah,
seems to be the answer for most musicians. We're used to working such late nights that the mornings are kind of leisure time, I guess.
Yeah, totally. Would you say the same thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool. So when you're not playing gigs, have you got any other hustles going on?
That's a good question. I really enjoy exercising. So I've been trying to take the gym more seriously lately, and I really enjoy the way that it makes me feel mentally. I take lots of walks around my neighborhood with my dog.
Yeah, man.
And that's real nice. As far as like hobbies, I don't really have many other hobbies right now. I guess some video games sometimes.
The only thing that I could say that constitutes as a hobby is me and my friends play Dungeons and Dragons.
Nice, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love games, and I used to do a board game night with my friends once a week, and I really miss that actually. But, I love board games.
Yeah, man. Dungeons and Dragons was the thing that I didn't know I needed in my life. I came across it. I was like, oh, where's this been my whole life?
That's awesome.
Right there. But I think I just didn't have the courage to admit I was that much of a nerd.
Right.
And then I was like, okay, I guess I am.
Sure.
Let's just go with it.
Yeah.
Very funny.
That's cool.
So, you've got a band as well, a little side project with your brother, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
That's called Secret Tunnel. We have about 4 songs out, and I've always wanted to do something with my brother because he is the reason I'm playing guitar. He went to jail about how many years ago? 15 years ago,
right.
And we would talk on the phone once a week, and he would always say, please learn guitar so we can jam when I get back. And because he was playing a lot of guitar in jail, and so
cool.
He's 9 years older than I am, and of course being being his little brother, I look up to him a lot, so would learn a couple chords and we would jam and stuff, and that kind of really inspired me to play music. And now,
cool.
All these years later, we always wanted to record some music together. He never recorded anything in a studio or anything like that. So a couple of these songs were songs that we wrote together, and then a couple of these songs were songs that he wrote on his own. It felt good to get them out.
Yeah, wicked. I'm going to check them out.
Yeah.
So I think now would be a good time, if you're up for it. I want to wheedle into your performance time and play a little bit of sax with you.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Let's do it.
Yeah, wicked.
Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've been feeling real low since you left me yesterday. My runaway lover is gone without a trace now. It's got me sinking so deep down today. My friends have all been wondering if I'll make it out okay. I drink to pass the time, hoping that'll ease the pain. Take a second to unwind, wondering if it's me to blame. It's not like I left the door hanging wide open. If I did, I know that she'd be taking off, running, come back. Back to me, my lover. Oh, won't you come back, my runaway lover. I'm now holding up to well, I haven't seen my girl in days. All that remains now are the memories of her face. No phone calls, no texts, and no sight of her appearance. The thought of her long gone, I just don't think I could bear with. So I light one up to pass the time, hoping that'll ease the pain. Take a second to unwind, knowing now that I'm to blame. I may have left the door open behind me. I promise I'll come looking for you. Need you here beside me. Come back to me, my lover. Won't you come back, my runaway lover.
hoping you'll return my love. I'm so lost, we're looking for you. Where did I make the wrong turn? This time I won't stop until I find you. And all I could do now is just think about the times we were young and so free, with no responsibilities. Nowadays I sit and wait, longing for you as I grieve. You're on my mind almost all the time, wondering what I did to make you leave. Come back, 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 back to me, my lover. Well, I need you here with me, my darling. Back, 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 my runaway lover. Bet on the saxophone. Yeah! Come back, back, back. Come back, 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 my runaway love. Come back, back, back. Come back, 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 my runaway love.
Nice. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I don't know how, but I'ma find a way to a brighter day. And I'll spend my whole life searching through the valleys, through the hills. I won't quit till I get my fill. So many lessons I've been learning. I know that life is moving so fast, and I try to slow it down but keep moving past it. Thought I'd come to learn my lesson in time, as I try to find the reason just to write another rhyme. Constantly I'm searching for ways to get by. I don't think I found the answer, but I'll find it in due time. Spreading my wings to see how high I can fly. I won't stop until I reach the sun. I'm aiming for the sky. I don't know how, but I'ma find a way to a brighter day. And I'll spend my whole life searching through the valleys, through the hills. Won't quit till I get my fill. So many lessons I've been learning, taking my time on this endless ride through the wave of life. And I keep riding with the current, trying to survive against the rising tide. I'll make it out alive, but I can never be too certain. At the edge of the cliff, all that's left to do is jump. Gotta trust that I'll land it the right way. I ain't scared of the bottom, I've already been there. Don't matter what the pressure might weigh. I ain't looking for a handout, I just wanna live the life that I made. Uncertainty is an ocean, but I've got devotion, I'm riding the wave. Got a long way here to go. Shit, I keep fighting the tide to just keep up with the flow. Whoa, caught in the undertow, trying to find my way back to the place of where I belong. Yeah. Whoa, and I keep fighting my past. If I learn to accept it, then I might come to the fact that I may never understand understand the things I've done. Only difference is I'm far better than where I begun. I don't know how, but I'ma find a way to a brighter day. And I spend my whole life searching through the valleys, through the hills. Won't quit till I get my fill. So many lessons I've been learning, taking my time on this endless ride through the wave of life. And I keep riding with the current, trying to survive against the rising tide. Won't make it out alive. I don't know how, but I'ma find a way to a brighter day. And I'll spend my whole life searching through the valleys, through the hills. I won't quit till I get my fill. So many lessons I've been learning, taking my time on this endless ride through the wave of life. And I keep riding with the current, trying to survive against the rising tide. Won't make it out alive, but I can never be too certain.
561 Music is brought to you by Handlebars Bar and Grill. It's a biker bar in Tequesta, and if you're driving up US 1, you come across it on the right-hand side. It's a little bar there. It's bright yellow. You can't miss it with handlebars on the sign. And it has a long and storied history. It's been there. It used to be called Judy's, and it was run by this guy Victor, who sadly passed this year, R.I.P. Victor. And then my father-in-law took it over, and he's doing a great job up there. There is a bike night every second Thursday of the month, and there is a jam every fourth Sunday of the month. If you're interested in that kind of thing, it's just an all-inclusive, any kind of music, any style, any ability type of a jam. And there's great beers on tap, and they're wonderful food. Bernsey, the chef, does a fantastic job. If you're interested in classic cars or classic bikes, there's always that kind of stuff hanging around there. It attracts that sort of a crowd because it's called Handlebars Bar and Grill, so it makes sense. And yeah, you should come swing by. It's definitely a local spot and has a lot of character. And there's people who have been going there for decades and decades. It's one of those places that's a part of the furniture in Tequesta, and you should definitely come check it out. I booked the music for the place and love doing it, and I was a part of helping set the place up, and I'm a huge fan. And you should, anyone who is interested in biker bars, or even if you've just never been to one and you're curious about what a biker bar is about, you should go and check out Handlebars Bar and Grill. We are also sponsored by Oasis Root. Now, Oasis Root Kava Bar is in Sea Grape Square on Indiantown Rd, and it is a kava bar. If you don't know anything about kava, it's a Polynesian root that you grind up and you mix with water. And it has been in Polynesia for potentially thousands of years. It's an old thing that they used for kind of ceremonial and also sort of leisure purposes. It's meant to be something where, that brings people together. You all take a shell of kava and chink them together and say bula and have it together like that. It's meant to be something to bring people together. It's has a kind of an effect, which is, I guess, a kind of a slightly warming effect. It just kind of makes you feel nice. It's not particularly intoxicating. It's not like drinking alcohol. So the atmosphere in a kava bar is sort of like a cross between a regular bar and a coffee house. It's pretty chill in there. You get all sorts of different types of kava bars. Some of them are more like a club, there's sort of like blacklight and EDM playing. And some of them are more like a cafe. This is one of the cafe type of ones. It's super chill in there. If you're looking for somewhere to, I don't know, maybe go and do some work on your laptop or go and have a chat with friends, it's perfect for that kind of thing. There's a foosball table in there if that's your jam, or baby-foot as they call it in France. And yeah, Jim, the owner, is a really cool guy, and he has very kindly sponsored our podcast. So thank you very, very much for that, Jim. They also do a poker night in there, all sorts of things going on at Oasis Root Kava Bar. 561 Music is sponsored by Live Music Community. It's where we film the podcast that you're listening to right now, and it's also where I work. Gavin, Hector's son, was a student here for a long time, and in many ways he's the musician he is today because of the teachers at Live Music Community. We taught him not only about his instrument, but also about being in a band. And his band, Unemployed Youth, accomplished a lot of goals, mostly band etiquette, how to work together, and all of the nitty-gritty that goes into being in a band on a day-to-day basis. The student signs up for lessons, learns their instrument, joins a real band, and decides the direction it goes in. And we can take people from very young age, 6 or 7 years old, all the way up to 80. There's no age limit here. We run an adult program for people who want to be in a band as adults, but really the main focus is on the kids and getting them playing together and in bands. We are also a studio, a live stream venue, and we can record audio or video. The Killbillies live album, Warts and All, was recorded here. It was recorded during a live stream that we did during COVID. Justin had a great idea to record live streams during COVID. A ton of bands came in, and it was a real success. But outside of that, we can record albums, we can help you with your EPK, and we have full audio-visual capabilities here. LMC is in Palm Beach Gardens on the northwest corner of Military Trail and North Lake Boulevard. It's north of the gas station, right before you get to North Lake on Military Trail. And if you go to livemusiccommunity.com, you have all the information you'll need right there. Thanks. So since we were just talking about Live Music Community, which is where we are sitting right now, and it is a music school, do you have any advice for upcoming musicians by any chance?
Upcoming musician. As far as gigging or
people starting out, anything you want.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I would say start playing live. Go to an open mic, be in front of people.
Yeah.
Because that's probably the hardest part about it. Is being in front of people that you're not used to playing in front of. It's easy to play in your room to nobody, which is fine. And music can be something that you do just alone in your room. But I think there's another side of it to perform in front of people.
Yeah. And I know that it took me a long time to become comfortable with doing a solo set because all of the attention is kind of on you.
Right.
And I found those to be the thing that really shored up my kind of gravitas and stage presence, was just being up there on my own,
Sure.
Because you kind of live or die by the sword when you're on your own.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. Just go to open mics, get yourself out there.
Yeah. I guess then I'm thinking about people who are making beats or something on their computer and stuff like that too. I have some friends and family members who do like raps or make beats and stuff like that too, or maybe open mic night isn't as applicable, but I think for people like them, then just to put their music out, make it live for people to hear, which I don't know. And then as I'm saying all this, I'm like second guessing myself, because I'm like, well, is that really like the goal? Like, what if the goal is just to create music for the sake of the love of the art? And like, why is the goal to have to perform and
No,
like,
that's true.
Could it just be for yourself too? So I don't know.
I suppose a good thing to do would be to figure out what you want out of it.
Right. Right, figure out a goal maybe.
Yeah. Like have a good think about that. That's something that I always ask my students right at the beginning, and actually,
sure.
I'm sure it was Justin initially, who's the owner of Live Music Community, who suggested I do that, which is sit them down and say, well, why do you want to learn this?
Right.
Like, what's the purpose of you learning this? And most people go, I don't know. And then they have a think about it.
Right.
And then that starts to kind of point them in a direction, the direction that they want to go in.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great point. So, yeah, I think that I changed my advice into what you said is, think about what your goal is, why you're making music, are you doing it to enjoy at the leisure of your own home where you can enjoy your art, or are you trying to do something out of it? And, and if that's the case, then I say just go balls to the wall, start performing, start releasing music, and just start doing it.
So you just played some songs off Chasing Constellations, which is out on November 4th, and there's the cover of your awesome album. Could you tell us a little bit about the two songs that I just had the pleasure of playing along with you?
Yeah, so Runaway Lover is actually a song about my dog running away.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to make it like you're not really sure while you're listening. Is it about a girl, relationship? But yeah, it's about my dog.
That's awesome. I loved the cover. It was so beautifully drawn.
It was very well.
Who did that?
TJ Norris, who I found on Instagram. He's a great graphic designer. But yeah, so that's what that song's about. It was cool doing it in that stripped down acoustic rendition like that. And,
well, I certainly had fun.
Cool.
When Hector said he couldn't make it because he's doing awesome fancy things down in Miami, I was like, oh, okay, so I've got Joey all to myself. I'm going to ask if I can play with him.
Yeah.
And it worked out for me.
That worked out great, man.
Yeah. It was good times. What was the other one again?
That was Wave of Life was the second song. That I was talking about that one earlier.
Oh, that's right.
So that's the one that Ballyhoo is featured on.
Yeah, cool.
And yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite songs to perform live, just because there's a lot of energy in it. The lyrics are pretty fast, so it's kind of fun to
almost rappy.
Yeah.
No, those are fun ones to do live for sure.
Definitely.
And so what have you got coming up? What's in the pipes for Joey Calderaio? Like, what's next? Any shows or even just on a more broad way,
right. As far as shows, nothing too crazy coming up soon. We're doing some trips to the West Coast in January and March of next year to play some shows. We always love playing in St. Pete. So that we've got that in the books. But as far as other goals, I've always wanted to write an acoustic album.
Nice.
Something a little bit more stripped down, so I'm currently working on that. And but then I'm also working on like more of like a funk rock album, and then also then some more reggae stuff and and covers. So I'm working on so much like different stuff, and I'm not sure what's gonna come out next.
That's cool.
I think I'm still writing the new album for a little bit, and in the meantime having some fun doing some other things, but I don't know what's actually going to be released next.
You sound a little bit like me in that, like, you relax from recording your album by just recording other stuff.
Yeah. Sure, definitely.
That's me as well.
Yeah.
I'm never happier than when I'm in my studio. And interestingly, it wasn't until I sobered up that I had the presence of mind and the stillness to really enjoy being in the studio.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, a little bit sort of, I hate to use the word sort of and minimize it, but a little ADD and bouncing around, looking around, and I feel like these days I can really relax into it and be in the present, in the studio, and I find a lot of peace in there, and I really enjoyed studio work now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I can spend just hours and hours just recording, whether it's like messing around with my guitar or usually it's guitars or making a lot of the songs start off as like beats that a lot of my originals start off like just with like drums and keyboard or something like that, and then I'll kind of add the instruments on later. But I have a lot of fun just recording random things.
Me too.
See where it takes me.
Me too, absolutely. Actually, something that I wanted to have a crack at, if you're open to it, is I wanted to see if I could make a dub out of one of your tunes. I really enjoy doing that kind of stuff.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, for that.
Please
All
do.
Right, cool. Well, we'll talk about that later. I love making dubs and just experimenting with weird lasers and stuff.
Yeah,
like
man, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, cool. Well, are there any shows at all people can come and see you this weekend or next weekend?
Yeah, so this weekend we're gonna be at Townie's Tavern in Stewart. That's on Friday. Townie's Tavern from 7 to 10.
Cool.
We will be at Sailor's Return, also in Stewart, on Sunday from 5 to 8. And then next week, on the 22nd, we'll be at E.R. Bradley's, West Palm Beach, from 6 to 9. We have a lot of private events coming up, and then we've got the holidays. And then on New Year's Eve, we're going to be at Maxie's Lineup or Food Shack in Jupiter,
cool.
Florida.
That's a nice little gig, actually.
Yeah, New Year's Eve. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
You're going to have a blast in there on New Year's Eve. It's going to be crazy. That's like Jupiter crew right there.
Oh, yeah. Every time we play there, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But that's actually going to be with my old band, Jawzilla. That's going to be like our reunion show.
Oh, nice.
So that's not even going to be with Joey Calderaio band. That's going to be with Jawzilla.
Oh, that'll be fun.
I get to jam out, play some of our old tunes. And
killer. So. Nice one, man. So we are also playing E.R. Bradley's, but on a different date. We're playing there Thursday 15th from 6 to 9, exactly the same as you. And then on Friday 16th, Killbillies is playing Kilted Mermaid, which is in Vero, and that's a really fun little spot. If you've never been to Kilted Mermaid, you are missing out. It's a cool place.
Never been there.
And then on Saturday the 17th, we are playing Meg O'Malley's up in Melbourne. And Meg O'Malley's one of our favourite Irish pubs we play. It's just... They've done a beautiful job with it, from the stone floors, everything. I mean, when I say it's authentic, I don't mean that... It's difficult to describe what I mean. It just has a really, really good vibe to it, and it's a quality... There's something quality about it. The food is great, and it just works. And it only has a little stage, but it works just great for Killbillies. We fit right on there. And then Sunday the 18th, from 4:30 to 10, from 4:30 to 8, I should say, I am playing a solo gig at Matthew's Brewery in Lake Worth.
Nice.
And so that's our weekend. And we're actually doing New Year's Eve at Meg O'Malley's, which I was talking about before, in Melbourne. And that's going to be crazy. But quite a long drive back for Hector.
I was going to say, are you guys sleeping down there or no?
Well, I mean, we have talked about it, and maybe that'll happen. The thing is, I don't drink. And Hector and James kind of, as a result, don't really drink that much, or if at all, at our gigs. So there's a chance we'll get to the end of the night stone cold sober.
Right.
We'll see. But then the problem is, is it?
There's a lot of other drivers on the road and late at night.
Exactly. We don't want to be one of those statistics. So we have talked about it. We might end up staying up there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Cool. Yeah,
Kilted
man.
Mermaid. How's that place?
So the Kilted Mermaid, right? Yeah. It's run by this really interesting, lovely couple, very bohemian kind of couple who they're really into music and really into food, and also just the design of the place is just incredible. They have all this stuff hanging from the ceiling. They've got a million sort of signs up, and the owner wears a kilt, and it's just very bohemian. For a South Florida bar, it is surprisingly bohemian.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you go in there and
fun.
you're like, oh, this is cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it has a really interesting vibe. And they get a lot of that kind of, rootsy, Americana-y type of music in there, and
cool.
That's why they have us. The owner there, he is also in an Irish band, so he likes what we do.
Very cool.
Yeah, man.
Hey, can I ask you, how did you get into podcasting, and what are some of your takeaways just from doing it?
So, I got into this because initially, someone approached me to do a radio show, and it transpired that really what she wanted me to do was to sell ads for them, and then I basically got to have this show on their station.
Gotcha.
And so I realized pretty quickly that I wouldn't, if I signed that contract, I'd just be running around all week trying to raise the money for my hour-long show every week. And then right around the same kind of time, Justin had moved into this new spot and had set it up and was wanting to do podcasts. And Hector, who at the time I hadn't known for all that long, probably about a year. I mean, he and I are like best friends now. I've known him for a long time now, but at the time I hadn't known him for all that long.
Gotcha.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, well why don't we just do it here at Live Music Community?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, that's a really good idea. It's not going to be anywhere near as expensive because that you wouldn't believe how much they were expecting me to come up with at this radio show. It was astronomical.
Wow.
And then we were thinking about, what should it be about? And then we were like, you know what, let's make it something that kind of helps support the local music community and gets different musicians on.
Right.
And my takeaways from it are, it has just been unbelievably beneficial for networking.
Right.
It's like I know a lot of people pretty well now because I've had these great long conversations with them.
Sure.
And because prior to this, I was playing so much that
you don't get to see a lot of live music.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're playing.
And so I've really appreciated it in terms of, it was never the goal for us to necessarily get anything specific out of it. It was more like, what can we do to help raise up the local music community and stuff. But honestly, it's been hugely beneficial to me in that regard, just in terms of knowing people now and getting to know people. And, like today, I got to play with you, these little nice little things.
Right.
Just in terms of my feeling like I'm more of a part of the local music community, it couldn't. I love it. I love it. I like chatting. I like talking to people. I'm genuinely curious in people. So that's it. I really like it. I'm not going to stop for sure. Just keep on trucking.
Do you think
thinking of doing one?
What's that?
Are you thinking of doing one?
I don't know. I'm not really sure. I have a hard time talking. I'm sure people could see that. I don't know. Yeah, I just have a difficult time putting my thoughts into words sometimes. I guess that's why I play music. But I've thought about it before. Yeah. Do you suggest that other musicians or creators in general create a podcast, or is it kind of just
I think there's plenty of there's plenty of room to do it. Right. I think it boils down to having a simple, good idea that's repeatable without being boring.
Right.
So having a guest on, that's why these work, because it's never the same twice.
Right.
So if you figure out like a repeatable, good idea that's simple and isn't just going to take up all of your week planning every week,
right?
Then yeah. I mean, I personally don't see any downsides. I've had a ton of fun doing it, and it's been received well, So yeah, I think it for Killbillies and for me, it's been very good because I have met so many people through it. So I couldn't really rave enough about how much I enjoy doing it. And then we get to do the festival and everything, So yeah, man,
Gotcha.
Should someone else do it? Only if they want to.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah. Gotcha. I totally enjoy it.
Cool.
Well, listen, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, cool. It's been my pleasure too. All right, wicked. Take it easy, guys.
Peace.